Hello everybody, this is Mr. Margo for PokerVIP.com with a new Heads Up series, Heads Up from the Ground Up. And this series will cover the introduction to Heads Up cash play. So yeah, this is part 1, it will be 4 parts, and yeah, this part is the default pre-flop game plan. So we sit down on a table without any information about our opponent. What hands do we play? How do we play them? Why do we play them? And yeah, let's get into it. First of all, the small blind strategy. What to do in the first hand against an unknown player. And yeah, let's give me an overview over the series first. Part 1 will be the default preflop game plan, as I just said. Part 2 will then handle with preflop adjustments. Just, yeah, adjusting different opponents and yeah, what hands to 3-bet against different types. Part 3 will then be the post-flop guidelines. I mean, covering complete post-flop play will not be or can be done in a series, and yeah, but I will talk a little bit about some lines and how to adjust post-flop to your opponent. And in part 4 I will play live, and yeah, you can see me starting out with my default game plan and then adjusting slowly to our opponent. And also we'll be obviously talking about some post-flop guidelines I'm using and why I'm using them. So let's get started with the small blind strategy. We start off by opening 100%. Why do we do that? Because there is already money in the pot and we want to win this. Easy, or? Yeah, on the right I've just put in a 100% range. I think most of you people know what a 100% range looks like, and yeah. So yeah, we start off by min raising because we just don't want to waste so much money. If he is an aggressive, or if our opponent is an aggressive 3-better, we don't want to start off by 3xing and then he just 3-bets the first few hands and then leaves the table. That happens here. And when you min raise, you risk 1.5 big blinds. You raise to 2 big blinds, you have half a big blind already in the pot to win your half big blind that is already in the pot and the 1 big blind from the big blind. And yeah, if it works more than 50% of the time, you show an instant profit with every hand just because he defends too tight, yeah? And our default approach to 3-bets is that we call somewhat light in the beginning, and depending on the 3-bet sizes of our opponents. If we min raise and he 3-bets to 6 big blinds, we defend lighter than if he 3-bets to 7 big blinds, and yeah, there we defend lighter than when he 3-bets to like 8 big blinds. So pay attention what odds you're getting, and yeah, I will talk a little bit about 3-bet defense later on. And yeah, 4-bet and get it in somewhat tight. There are so many players out there who just put it in too light against an unknown. I mean, this is the default strategy. We don't really want to get it in with like a hand like ace jack or pocket sevens as a default. I will talk about that now in the playing against the 3-bet part. Okay, first of all, as I just said, most players get it in too light, and you don't want to be one of them. So on the top in the chart there is my 4-bet get it in range as a default against an unknown player, and 10s plus ace queen suited plus ace king offsuit plus. Ace queen suited is kind of borderline. You can also call it if you are playing in games where the general opponent is not that aggressive, like when you're just starting out on NL50 where people are generally pretty passive pre-flop. You don't really want to go broke with that hand too much. But yeah, up from 100 NL, that's a standard pre-flop, And yeah, let's assume your opponent 3-bets to 7 big blinds. You only need 35.7% equity to call. Yeah, you min raised and he puts in 7 big blinds and you have to call 5 to win the 9 in the pot. Your 2 plus the 5 of your the 7 of your opponent. And yeah, you have position post flop, so we want to call 3-bets kinda light. We don't need that much equity, we have position, and yeah, so we want also in 3-bet pots we want to make our opponents make big mistakes, or to just play aggro against him when he's out of position, just that he doesn't have an easy spot on us. Yeah, we don't want to just call and then give up every pot that we miss. We want to raise and float many hands, and yeah, just give him hell out of position. Yeah, and on the bottom right here in this chart, I've just wrote down a standard calling range for me. I call this in the top are the hands that I'm 4-betting, and yeah, the other hands are just hands that I want to call here. Some of them are rather close, like the ace deuce, ace 5, but yeah, you are often dominated if he has a reasonable 3-betting range, but yeah, you also can win a lot of pots where you both don't improve, and yeah, you have position and so on, and yeah, you can also call many of the suited kings, suited queens, suited jacks, because you just have the equity and they play pretty good in 3-bet pots. Okay. Now let's get on to the big blind strategy. Yeah, because playing the small blind is only half the fun. Okay, let's get into it. First of all, the defense against a min raise. Which hands do we want to defend and why? On the right you see I'm defending a lot against min raise, yeah? First of all, let's get back to the math. As I said before, when you min raise the button and your opponent folds more than 50% of the time, you show an instant profit. So you don't want to fold more than 50% of the time, so you have to defend a lot. Against min raise you're getting 3-1, so you need 25% equity to call, which against 100% range you pretty much have with any hand if he min raises 100%. But yeah, there are hands that are dominated easy and you can't always realize your equity post flop. Yeah, by not realizing I do mean you call and he bluffs you out because you don't hit the board, and you hit it like an ace deuce deuce spot and he c-bets and you have like the 9-7 offsuit, so you're folding even though he had like 6-4 suited. And that's why I defend a little bit more than 70%, I guess. And you want to defend any suited hand here, and only for the worst offsuit hands. And against the min raise, calling is more attractive than 3-betting, just because you're getting so good odds, and when you are 3-betting, your opponent also gets good odds, and you're also very deep against the min raise. When you're 3-betting to 7.5 big blinds perhaps, you're already pretty deep, and he can call a lot, so you don't really want to bluff that much, or and for that same reason, 3-betting a little bit lighter for value is good here, just because your opponent will also call a lot more because you're a little bit deeper and he's getting good odds and so on. So you can 3-bet a little bit lighter for value. So 3-betting hands like ace 9 suited, ace 8 suited, when he defends every suited ace or every ace in general, can be good here. Okay, let's talk about the defend against the 3x raise. You can defend much tighter because you're only getting 2-1 and not 3-1 anymore. And so you don't want to defend all the crap suited hands where you are then in a bigger pot out of position and are often dominated, or yeah, already playing a big pot and they have to check fold many flops. And yeah, same reason that calling is more attractive for 2x, now 3-betting is more attractive against 3x, because he's just risking 3 big blinds to win your 1 big blind. And yeah, when he has a 100% range, he has to fold almost in the same range and when he's min raising. So he's just folding 1 big blind more. So yeah, your 3-bet will just make more money if he's folding in the same range. And yeah, for that reason, 3-betting more bluffs becomes attractive. And also, if he's not calling so much against 3-bets, as if he would have 2x'd, so against 2x he will probably defend a very wide range against your 3-bet. When he's 3xing, he probably will fold more. So yeah, you can't really 3-bet that light for value. Okay, and now let's talk a little bit about 3-betting ranges. First of all, as a default, keep your ranges value heavy. On the right there is my standard value 3-betting range. So we almost get it in with most of the hands that we are value 3-betting, which is good against the default because many people tend to just throw out a 4-bet against the first 3-bet and then you just have a very strong range here. My standard 3-bet size here is, if he opens 3 big blinds, I'm 3-betting to 10, and if he's opening to min, I'm 3-betting to 7.5 big blinds. And now let's talk a little bit about the 3-bet bluffing ranges, because they differ a lot when our opponent is 2xing against when he's 3xing the button. Okay, I wrote down here 2 points. Bluff with the strongest part of your folding range and don't waste hands. Okay, might sound a little bit strange to you. What does that mean, don't waste hands? In general, it means you don't want to bluff with hands where you can have a profitable call. So let's just take an example. You're in the big blind with like the king 8 suited. Your opponent opens 3x and you say, okay, should I call, should I 3-bet? I mean, folding is out of the question, the hand is too strong against the default player. And yeah. And when you now decide to 3-bet, that is a pretty big mistake in my opinion, because you are wasting this hand as a bluff. And what do I mean by that? You have a profitable call with the ace 8 suited, yeah? So for your complete range, when you call this hand, you will make a profit. You will show profit there. Okay? When you 3-bet this hand, let's just assume when you 3-bet this hand, you will also show a profit. So basically, the profit or the plus, both plays are plus EV. So you are playing, so it doesn't really matter if you're 3-betting this hand or not. Okay? Both are plus EV. I don't know which one is more EV. That is, you can't really calculate that against the default player. So yeah, but let's just say you're calling with a king 8, and yeah, you're now next hand you have the king 6 suited, and you say, okay, I can call with like king 8 suit, king 7 suit, but king 6 is a little bit too weak to call here. I don't really want to call this hand. Then it's a great spot to bluff 3-bet that hand. Just because you're playing in your range, you're playing the king 8, king 7 plus EV when you are calling, and you also turn the king 6, which you would have otherwise folded, and yeah, don't make a plus EV decision here. You can turn that into a plus EV play by 3-betting it. So your whole range improves. You now have you had the king 8, king 7 suited hands which keep the same EV, but you're also adding the king 6 into your bluff 3-betting range where you're now gaining some EV. So yeah, So it's good for your complete range. Bluff with the strongest part of your folding range. Just think about it. Against the 3x, for example. You're just in the big blind and he opens and you say, okay, I have a 10-7 suited, and you say to yourself, or yeah, let's just take the example from before. You have the king 7 suited. And you just say, okay, this hand is a call. It's in my calling range. Yeah, this is the weakest hand that I would call here, the weakest suited king. Then all worst kings, the king 6, king 5 suited, king 4 suited, all those hands become good candidates to put in our bluff 3-betting range. Okay, also let's take a look. What would I 3-bet as a default? All the hand that I don't want to call here, down here, against the 3x, these are all good candidates to 3-bet. And all the suited connectors I don't want to call against a 3x also, yeah? All those hands that are not in my calling range are good 3-betting candidates. Obviously you don't want to 3-bet all of them, just get a balanced range, and yeah. But now against the 2x, this is pretty much different, because we are defending all those hands passively. Yeah, we want to call all those hands, so we want to bluff with hands that are a little bit too weak to call. And you don't really want to 3-bet bluff a lot of these hands, because they just play so horrible post flop in the 8-4 offsuit and so. But you can take hands from here who are just by calling are break even or slightly plus EV and turn them into a 3-bet bluff, which is more plus EV. Okay, so you have basically two ranges here. Against the 3x you want to 3-bet lower hands, maybe some blockers and suited things, and against the min raise you want to 3-bet hands from here, or maybe some offsuited connectors. And yeah, I'm just covering 2x and 3x here, but there are people out there who open 2.5x. Then just take something that's in between those two approaches, okay? So again, you have to know, or you are talking to yourself, okay, he opens here. Do I have a hand that I can call with? And if your answer is no, and you say, okay, but yeah, I would call with a better kicker here, with like one better kicker. You have like the queen 7, and you would say, yeah, queen 8 I would defend, but queen 7 suited is a little bit too weak. Then this is probably a good spot to bluff. Okay, this is really important to understand, yeah? You're maximizing the EV of your whole range this way. Okay, let's talk a little bit about my approach to heads up. Now you know which hands to open in the small blind, how to react to 3-bets, and how to defend the big blind and the default 3-betting ranges. As I said, this is a standard thing, yeah? First hand sitting down, we have no information about our opponent. This will differ greatly after we played only the first few hands. If I see something he's doing, I will then just adjust. Yeah? Fast adjustment is pretty important in heads up. You see a leak in your opponent and you say, okay, I have to adjust my range here. Perhaps give me an example here. You are just against the min raise, you are just calling the hands like ace 8 through ace 2 suited, but yeah, you now 3-bet a good hand, and he shows up, he calls you 3-bet, and you get to showdown or so, and he shows you the ace deuce offsuit, yeah? And so you assume, okay, he will call my 3-bet with a weak ace, so I can 3-bet more aces for value, just because you have him dominated so often. Okay, that was a little bit from the next part, but yeah. Now, let's come back to my approach to heads-up play. First of all, I wrote here, heads-up can be high variance, so bankroll management is important. Unless you're playing only complete passive fish, you will have session swings of 5 to 10 buy-ins. Yeah, this will happen, and yeah, you need a bankroll to support that, because going broke is no fun. Yeah? So bankroll management is important. What I would advise when you're starting out, you should have like a minimum of 40 big blinds at 50 NL, and yeah, so that's the minimum. And then when you're moving up, you should add a few buy-ins each level. And yeah, please don't play heads up at like 4 NL, 10 NL or so. Rake will just kill you. Yeah, I think on 10 NL you pay like 30 big blinds per 100, which is pretty sick. And unless you have a extremely good rakeback deal, and yeah, you only play complete retards, yeah, unless then that limit is not really beatable. So 50 NL first spot, yeah, first limit you should play. And yeah, play multiple sides to get enough action. You will be there, you will just join a few people and nobody will play you. That happens a lot. So when you can play multiple sides, you can just get action, or you just can pick games better, because there are so many more games offered to you. And yeah, Poker VIP has great offers from all sites out there. Just add one of them in Skype, and yeah, they will discuss with you some deals, and yeah, get you going to heads up, because yeah, rakeback is pretty important on the low limits here, because you're just paying a good amount of rake and then having a good deal, and yeah, playing on multiple sides where you get enough action will have a great impact on your hourly rate. And yeah, my approach to moving up is, I start when I'm moving up to a new limit, because I have the bankroll and I'm feeling confident I'm beating the actual limit I'm playing. Then first of all, I just open sit there waiting for fish, and yeah, don't really want to play the racks at that limit, because yeah, I'm just moving up and I have to get used to the new blind structure and the monetary swings there. So when moving up, first sit down, wait for fish, only play very weak players. And then after some time, when I have some confidence, made some money there, yeah, got used to a little bit swings, then I will start off by picking on the weaker racks on that limit, yeah, just joining them and hoping they play me. And yeah, after that, after I'm beating them and yeah, nobody wants to play me anymore, yeah, you can start battling the stronger racks. And yeah, you don't really want to battle better racks that much. If you sit down and play against him and don't really spot enough leaks, yeah, then don't play him. I mean, you want to make money. I think playing better racks sometimes is good for your learning of heads up and to understand something about, but only if you analyze your session later and just see, okay, here he makes a very thin river check raise or so. Yeah, he made that probably because I was calling that too much. And so this is like the final spot you want to play before moving up to the next limit. Yeah. Okay. And now I have a few anti-tilt advices. First of all, in heads up, there is a lot of ego involved. It's not like in full ring games where you are playing a new player every hand, or yeah, just getting big, don't get that much big pots against one opponent where he constantly can own you. So in heads up, you only will play against one opponent, and there will be session where he just owns you in every pot. Yeah. He just gets lucky a few times and he outplays you a few times, you have to fold, and yeah, you start to tilt. Everybody does it, yeah? But the key to tilting is not to waste your win rate on it, or not to kill your win rate. You have to recognize when you are tilting and then just stop playing. Analyze, why are you tilting here? What is the problem? And then maybe get some anti-tilt or mindset coach, read a book about it or so, work on your game away from the tables. And one thing that I found was pretty good at the beginning when starting out to not really tilt, or just to stop when you're down a few buy-ins. Yeah, sometimes you don't even recognize it when you're tilting, but one week from now you just look back at your session and you say, oh wow, why do I play that hand that way? I mean, you look at the stats and he's never folding, and you're still 3-barreling him with complete air, and he calls you down with like third pair, and yeah, you just hate your life and start to tilt and play even worse. Yes, sometimes you don't even recognize it when you're at the table, just because your mind is tilting and the mind doesn't really want to recognize it. Yeah, so I think for a beginner it is good to have like a stop loss. You crit your opponent when you're down 3 stacks to him, even if he's the biggest fish. Yeah, you're maybe losing some EV now, but you're gaining so much discipline. Yeah, when you just stop, you gain so much discipline, and you won't tilt as much in the future as before. And I've done that. I've quit fish where I thought, yeah, I have to crush them, but yeah, they just 3-bet 100% and get it in. You flop top pair every time, and they suck out on you. Yeah, that happens. But now you can't really play your A game anymore if you're tilting, and you gain so much discipline. And now I can just play against this and lose like 10 buy-ins and not tilt and still play my A game, just because I have the discipline and now know, okay, I'm playing better than him. I just concentrate on the play and not on the outcome. Yeah, and also I have another stop loss in the session. Just quit the session for the day when you're down 5 buy-ins. I've heard from so many students that they say, yeah, I'm down 5 buy-ins here, but I still can play good. I want to win that money back, and I'm still playing good. I'm not tilting. And then I just look at their hands in the end of the session, and I just say, hey dude, you're tilting here. Why do you do that? And yeah, but yeah, sometimes you just don't recognize it that you're tilting. Yeah. And that's the worst form of tilt, where you're just constantly playing bad and you don't even recognize it. And yeah, don't let your ego and emotions make decisions. Take your time in every big pot where you have your opponent chips the river in a 3-bet pot. Take your time. Think what is his range, and yeah, don't make any insta calls, or yeah, unless you have obviously a strong hand or the nuts or so. Yeah, take your time, think about his range. And sometimes it comes to me, I'm sitting there and I can't really think clear in that spot, because my emotions just say, okay, does he have it or does he not have it? But I'm not really thinking about the range or so. So really calm down. You can use your time bank. And even if you don't know what to do, there are spots where you don't know what to do, what's the right play. Perhaps the first hand he just 3-barrels you and you have a top pair with a medium kicker and you don't know what to do. It's a default player. You don't know if he's bluffing too much here, if he's always value betting. You just don't know it. Then just sit there and feel. Feel the situation. How does it feel to not know it? And then think about it. Which hand would he bluff here? Which hand would he value bet here? And then look at the pot odds and really take your time. Play slowly. Don't haste. Okay, that was my little mindset part here for the first part. This is just really important. Take my advice and do the stop loss if you're just starting out. Maybe it will be a little bit minus EV for you in the first part if you're good, but if you quit fish, but in the long part it will give you so much discipline in the long term. And let's come to the conclusion of this video. You now have a standard pre-flop game plan. You know first hand sitting down, you know exactly what hands to play, how to play them, and then and in the next part we will now see how to adjust our plan based on the opponent we are playing. So we will get a little introduction to the heads up display and how to use it, and what stats to look at, and yeah, how to adjust or play against different opponent types or pre-flop game plan, yeah? Because, yeah, playing only standard will get you nowhere. You have to adjust to your opponent. Heads up is all about adjusting to your opponent. Okay, that was the first part of my Heads Up series, Heads Up from the ground up. This was Mr. Margo for PokerVIP.com, and we will see us in the next part.